everyone, welcome back to NovelsNook. If you're new here, my name is Victoria, and for today I just have a reading progress kind of vlogging and showing you guys the books I've been reading and everything like that. I do apologize if you hear the lawnmower. There's like a lawnmower going on outside, but I thought I would show you guys some books. So I don't know if I talked about this in the last vlog that I've posted, but I took a race and horror class. Also, sorry, this is the best setup I could find right now, but I was taking a race and horror class, which meant we read a lot of books relating to race and racial discrimination, racial just kind of segregation and everything involving about that kind of atmosphere, which I think is really crucial to today and what's happening around the world, as we've seen some really critical events happen recently. And so we've talked about current events, but we've also talked about the past and historical movements and historical pieces that really bring together race, and we also connected that with horror movies, which was really interesting because I'm someone who loves horror. I don't get to watch them often because Christopher, my boyfriend, doesn't like them as much, so but we got to watch movies like Us, which was phenomenal. I absolutely loved that movie. It was so good. The plot twist was amazing, and again we see the main characters, the main family that's focused in that movie is a African-American family, so that's kind of like what we talked about throughout this class. But I was gonna show some of the books you guys may have seen. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books, if you've read them, if you've heard of them, if you've had to read them for classes as well, let me know. And then I'll also talk to you guys about some of the fun books that I've been reading and me and Christopher have been reading together, and kind of update you guys on those as well. I've talked about them as well, but I just want to give a progress update. So let's just get into it. So this is the first book. A lot of you might have already have heard and are familiar with Angela Davis, but this is The Meaning of Freedom and Other Difficult Dialogues. So this talks about many different things, but the main thing that I focused on for my report, because what we had to do was read the books and then write a discussion piece and post about one of the main topics following them or a term, and I focused on the prison industrial complex, which this book dives into many different things following race, but also really good topics that are really interesting to learn about. So if you guys are interested in this book, it is, yeah, not a bad read. And I also had to underline in them. It used to be my biggest pet peeve in high school to highlight or underline or do anything like that in books, and now in college it's been so critical for me to just underline and highlight stuff. It is it's crazy. But the next book, I have a few, so I'm just gonna try to be brief with all of them, but we have The Racial Contract by Charles Mills. This one was I'm not gonna say boring, but it's one of the most kind of not fun reads. But again, this talked about the racial contract and the social contract, which I focused mostly on the social contract because I took a ethics class with actually the same professor who talked a lot about the social contract, talked a lot about philosophers like that. That was Hobbes, Locke, Rawls, Mill, and Marx. Yeah, those are just some of them. We talked a lot about those in ethics, and then so when reading this, I just did mine on the social contract because it kind of linked in to how the racial contract was integrated in that as well. So that was interesting. Then we have this one. This is The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon, and actually there's another book that we had to read by him as well. This one is like the thickest one we had to read, but this was also interesting as well. Talked about civil rights, things like that. That's mainly what this whole class is about, is like the civil rights movement looking at the movement and push towards getting African American rights and really seeing that equality, which is essentially what that class was about, and then linking it into a little bit fun piece of the horror aspect, which was nice. We got to watch really interesting documentaries. If you guys have Amazon or Amazon Prime, I watched, I think it's Horror Noir, which was really interesting, diving into the historical culture of African Americans within film, which was really interesting to see the development of how they're portrayed and even casted in movies. Seeing that development throughout time was really interesting. So if you guys want to look at that documentary, it's really fun. Oh, I just want to mention quickly, me and Christopher have now made a gaming channel. I talked about it in my last vlog that we were going to make one, but it is official. We are the Gaming Ruse. So if you guys like me and just watching some of my videos, and if you are interested in that gaming aspect, gaming videos, I plan to do Animal Crossing videos and a lot of different other kind of videos. But if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out. I'll leave a link down below of our channel directly, because we are such a new channel. It's hard finding the channel if you just look it up, so I'll leave a link if you're interested in that. Sorry, that was just a brief, I forgot to mention that in the beginning, so I thought I would add it here. But this is the other book from Frantz Fanon, Black Skin, White Masks. This talked a lot about, if I remember, the definitions of like blackness, whiteness. Let me just make sure that is the one. I know one of them talked about it. Yeah, like the definitions of whiteness and the attitudes and the power behind being, you know, a white man versus, you know, being a black man, and how that ideas and viewpoints are different. And we just talked a lot about how that is, you know, portrayed throughout time, and definitely we can see that now with a lot of crazy things that has been happening. So, and the last book that we had to read for this class was The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois, and I think a lot of us know him generally. I remember learning a lot about him in history, but essentially this book talks a lot about you know, the same topics, but also education, the value of education as well, which I think is super important. And you know, that's just something that I find interesting, and I'm a big advocate for education as well. I want to be a professor, so I think it's interesting to see how we can read books and see how they also value education. So these were basically all of the books. These were all of the books that I had to read for my horror and race class, which was interesting. I got an A in it, but it was really cool and fascinating to read all of these books, learn more about the topic and the subject, because I think it is such a huge topic that is important. And yeah, so those were the books, and now let's get into the fun bit. So I've talked a lot about this on my channel already. If you haven't already, on here we have a Witcher review where we talked about and discussed the TV show, the Netflix original The Witcher TV show, which we have watched. There's only one season so far if you guys were interested, but it's fascinating. I recommend it. And because of that, me and Christopher are reading together the Witcher books. So this is Blood of Elves, and we are on page 71. So far we're on page 71. It is very good. I'm loving it. It's really nice because it's picking up where the TV show kind of hasn't talked about. So we're kind of seeing events and seeing things that were in the show, which I love, which they are making more of the TV show, but for right now, this is all we have. So this is really interesting to see, and we're getting to see more of the characters. I'm getting to see some of my favorite characters again. And yeah, it's just really fun, really wholesome, and I love this book. It's really interesting and I love it. But so far we're only on 71, so we're not really far into it. I think we've only hit like one chapter, but it's a thick one. So, but I can't wait to see if we get to see elements of the TV show in it. But so far it's really good and just as I expected. An amazing book. It's probably going to be a 5-star. If any of you guys have read The Witcher, let me know down in the comments below. I know it had a lot of hype and I know a lot of people watched the show and then read the books or vice versa, so let me know if you guys have read this one yet, and I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. And I've also talked about this, but The Alchemist, this is the Nicholas Flamel series by Michael Scott. I love it. Got the book signed. You guys know the whole deal. And I have already read this. I gave it a 5 stars way back when I read it. I don't know, like 11th grade of high school. I really loved it, but me and Chris are rereading it together because it's just such a good book. We love it. And we are on chapter 4, page 24. It's really good so far. I love it. If you guys don't know the storyline, it's about these twins who get mixed up in some kind of alchemist drama, essentially, and they become a bigger part of something they'd never imagined. So they are essentially key components to unlocking something big for this alchemist world, and they wrap themselves in it. They go on this journey, this quest to awaken themselves to powers they never thought existed, and it's just a really fun book that we get to follow for a few books. It's quite a big series. I think there's 6 or 7 books, so I'm gonna try to read them. I have 4 of them already. I have The Alchemist, The Magician, which you guys have already seen if you've watched the combo book review on book 1 and book number 2 of this. That is on my channel. I will put it in the eye or link it somewhere so you guys can watch that if you haven't already. And I also have The Sorceress and The Necromancer. Those are the next 2 of this book, and I haven't read those yet, obviously, because I stopped reading them, so then me and Christopher can dive into them and read them together as well. So that was my quick little update on all of the books that I have been reading, have read, and just kind of my progress. I'll keep updating you guys on these books, but you guys already know my thoughts on them. Primarily, they're a 5-star. Rereading The Alchemist, I'll give it a 5-star when we're done with it because I've already read it and I will continue to love these books. I think they're so fun and such a fun read, and I love the concept of it. It's incredible. And then The Witcher, I love, and it's been so good so far, so that's probably going to be a 5-star as well, but I will keep you updated, and if I start getting any more progress on reading other books, I'll share that as well. I just recently bought a book review little notebook where I can catalog all the books that I've been reading, which I think is really fun, which I can share with you guys if I start filling it out. But I haven't been reading much because I've been working and finishing up these not so fun books. Well, I mean, they're fun, they're just not something I would read. Obviously, this is books I would read, and I wouldn't be reading The Racial Contract. Like, I would never have picked that up on my own. So yeah, that's what I mean by not fun, but they were good reads anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little portion. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, I'm back by the window. I just wanted to come on here and give a quick update about The Witcher. So we've been reading it and been diving into more of this book since the last check-in. Obviously, I'm no longer in school, as I shared with you guys the books for my semester. So I'm done with school, so now I'm really into reading more fun books and books that I want and that I'm picking. So I thought I would just share that we are on page 143, chapter 4. It's really interesting. I think some parts are better than others, obviously. There's been a few, you know, parts of the book that have been boring, but then a few that are really interesting. Obviously, anything with Geralt and Ciri are really fascinating because they have such fascinating storylines and really fun character development. And also, I think it's cool seeing the magician side as well. So we get to see Triss and her involvement with Geralt, and then also Yennefer. We haven't seen a lot of Yennefer. I think there's like one chapter where she's just mentioned briefly, or where she's in. So I think that's fun. I think it's gonna get really more action-packed and interesting once we see them do things. Like right now we're just seeing them kind of together but not really doing anything. They're just kind of in this one place for a consistent amount of time. So I think once they start traveling and they're going to be taking Ciri somewhere, and I think that's definitely going to make the plot more interesting. So yeah, but we are on 143, chapter 4. I mean, we're getting there. I wouldn't say that we are close to finishing, but yeah, I'll try to update you guys and continue doing this. If I don't, then this will be continued in another vlog, but I think I'll keep this going for a while. So okay guys, I'm back with another update. I feel like I've been reading a lot recently, and that may just be due to the fact that I told Christopher that I really wanted to start reading, even if it was just before bed, to just kind of get more reading in and just start reading all together so we can be reading more books generally. Like, that's the hope. So we've been really reading The Witcher and loving it. So right now we are on page 164, and it's really good. We're seeing a really nice development of the storyline. We see them on a quest right now. They're on a journey, they're on an adventure, and of course they have some ups and downs. Right now we see that Triss is sick, and you know, Geralt's trying to do everything he can to make sure she's better, and we just kind of see more of Ciri just being cute and kind, and she's so lovely, and I feel like all the precious moments are so sweet, and especially with Geralt and Ciri, it's really nice and kind of interesting to see such a strong, serious man be so compassionate and a certain way with Ciri, because, you know, it just shows that softer side. This isn't exactly a book update, but I recently have bought this. So this says book reviews, and it is by the Little Inklings design. I will leave the website down below where you guys can check some of these out, but it's really fun and really cool. So inside you get to write down all of the books that you've read, the title, what you rated them, some fascinating things, the characters, your thoughts, where'd you get the book, and you know, all that sort of fun things. So to start off, this is what it looks like right in the beginning. And I just wrote my name with our at NovelsNook, and I just think it's such a creative idea, and I immediately saw this and wanted some, so I filled out my first. So I haven't read any books fully for a very long time. It's been months because I've been so busy with school, so busy with the corona, and then getting a full-time job. It's been insane. So I just did the books that I've previously read and that I really enjoyed. So I did Red, White, and Royal Blue and The Weight of the Stars. And as you can see, I read, so you write the title, the author, when you read it from, if you recommend it, yes, obviously, 5 stars, the genre, how many pages, what was the format, and where did you read it from in my collection. I bought Red, White, and Royal Blue. Absolutely loved it. My favorite character was Alex. Obviously, I love him. He is the main character, but it was such a tie between him and Henry. I love them both. And then my thoughts on it is, obviously, I've talked about this book a lot, so I won't get into details, but I loved the romance and the relationship. And it says 1 word review, and I wrote magical because I just thought it was such a cute, fun book. And then my favorite quote up here in this little box, it says, "That's the choice. I love him with all that, because of all that, on purpose." I love him on purpose. And I just thought that was so cute. And there was a lot of famous quotes and really fun quotes that could be there, but that was my favorite. And then The Weight of the Stars. This is exactly, you know, they're all the same pages. But again, genre, pages, format, from, you have a little other box, and I got this from the author. It wasn't in the library or publisher. Kayla sent this to me. And then this is about the outcast and stuff like that, and it's really interesting and fun. And one word review, outstanding, which it was really well written, in a really interesting book, and I love the sibling dynamic in that book as well. So I just wanted to pop on here and show you guys these. If there's any left in stock, obviously check them out if you're interested. I'll leave the link, like I said, down below. But this was really fun and interesting. And then again, once I finish The Witcher, I will make a little page just for him on this side. And like I've said, we are also reading The Alchemist, which I've already read, but once I finish that, I'll make another post in here as well. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I really wanted to share that with you guys. So I hope you guys have these. If you guys have some and have designs made from Little Inkling Design, let me know. I would really like to see them and see what you guys are doing with them as well. And if not, check them out, because it's really beautiful and so useful. Definitely if you're making videos or into reading a lot of books, it helps collect all of your thoughts, and it's just so amazing. I love it. Okay, I hope you guys liked this vlog. This will be the last and final check-in. So I just wanted to briefly give you guys my last final update on the Witcher book. So we've been reading more of this, obviously. We are now on page 211, chapter 5. That's like so exciting to me. And so far it's really interesting. We just saw a battle scene, which is really fun and interesting. We couldn't get the book, you know, we couldn't set the book down, which is always awesome. And we got to see fight scenes. We got to see Geralt in action, all of his friends that he was traveling with, we got to see in action, and we got to see more of the storyline, learn more about the characters and the battles and the situations that they're in. So I think that's very interesting as well. So if you guys have read it, once again, let me know. And if you guys want to see me continue with the series, we're obviously going to continue doing that, and I'll update you guys as we start looking into more of the books. And I hope you guys like this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've read it. If you've watched the TV show, let me know. And if you think we should continue this. So it's very good, and I will keep you guys updated.